All right, Dan is still out in L.A. He is with the entire company. They are getting you ready. He is covering, just so you know, the Lakers and Clippers as their seasons get underway. Dan is out there covering the scene for us. We appreciate it. We'll throw it to him in just a couple of hours. Greg Cody is here. Billy is dressed up today. Billy, what are you doing?
I'm paying off creative death punishment. I'm dressed as mankind. Because I rule with an iron fist.
This is a good look. Good look for you.
Things have to be taken seriously around here. Punishments have to be paid. So here I am to, pay.
All right.
You seem thrilled.
I am. I mean, I'm having a nice day.
Great. Is it uncomfortable? I mean,
it's not my wardrobe of choice, I would say, but I feel like I could look worse.
You actually look good with the hair. I feel like you should grow your hair out and look like that.
Jason, who works with us, has very long hair. I don't know if you guys have noticed because he always puts it up in a ponytail, and I see him sometimes parking, and he lets his hair down, and then he goes to put it up in a ponytail. Very nice, luscious.
I see him sometimes parking. What are you just watching people in the parking garage?
I park in a parking garage. Sometimes people park.
You and him have the same arrival time. Do you have that with anyone at work where it's like me and this person just get here at the same time every day?
Well, you two get here at the same time because you ride the train.
Well,
together.
we haven't been actually.
Good point.
The Orlando. They added an Orlando stop, so it changed all the times. So I've actually not been bright lining the last few months.
Wait, so you could bright line from down here to Orlando now?
Yeah.
How long does that take?
Well, it
from
depends
here,
how many people you hit.
I think it's like four and change from here, 3 and change from Fort Lauderdale, I believe, is roughly the time.
Huh.
We'll just keep moving past that shot Billy just took at them.
It was a good shot, though.
It's not their fault. They stay on the tracks, the trains. I mean, if people get in the way, what are you supposed to do?
It's the people's fault?
Definitely.
Yes,
Okay.
100%.
1,000%.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
They can't swerve out of the way. I mean,
Yeah.
It's never Brightline's fault. I'm
They
just asking
don't
a
jump
question.
out
I'm
from
asking a
behind
question.
bushes. It's a train track.
Right. Okay.
They clearly, those things go down. A lot of bells and whistles.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
A lot of hubbub.
just bells.
Yeah. Rece Davis is going to join us in a couple of minutes here, the host of College Game Day. Greg was telling me a story earlier because we think Rece Davis is very handsome. He's a good-looking guy. And I was telling Greg that my wife finds him to be very attractive. But Greg was telling me a story about his wife and Pat Riley.
Wow.
Oh, my.
Can you share that?
Well, yeah, I mean.
I put you in a bad spot.
No,
I'm sorry.
No, the Silver Fox. This
Yeah.
is 10 or 15 years ago. So Pat Riley is like late middle age. He's just gorgeous. And he's walking into, we're at this event, this social event, which is a rarity for me. We're at this social event. My wife has never been directly in Pat Riley's company before. He walks into the room, and she swooned, like palpably, like, and she isn't prone to do that.
Right.
And the whole ride home, she could not stop talking about what a magnetic, good-looking man Pat
Right.
Riley was to see up and close.
He is. Debonair, I might say.
No doubt.
Right?
That was happening yesterday with a bunch of people's wives and Nick Bosa, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Well, it happened with my wife and Rece Davis. So,
Really?
yeah, we're watching College Game Day one day, and Rece, the camera is coming across the screen, and there's Rece Davis sitting right in the middle of all the action, and my wife says, "Hey, who's that?" And I know when my wife is asking, "Hey, who's that?" she's really saying to me, "That's a handsome guy."
And it's a good-looking set, so it could have been any of them.
Reese, how do you feel about that? Sorry to make it uncomfortable for you.
No, it's not uncomfortable. I mean, it's just a David ends and Y, Stugotz, so it just happened again. No, I'm kidding.
No, you're not.
You want to see my wife's eyes roll. Let me walk into the bathroom. We're getting up, and I look in the mirror, and I go, "Wow, happened again." And she goes, "What?" And I go, "I got better looking again." I mean, you want to talk about the ultimate eye roll, because she knows I'm full of it when I say that too.
What is going on with Reese? You have a great office. You have all these jerseys. Why is Jay Billis behind your? I think it's your left shoulder there.
Look, me.
Because I don't really collect memorabilia. So what I do like to get, though, is when people are kind enough and gracious enough to share them. I like to get jerseys of people that I've worked with. So I've got Billis up here. I've got Mark May, Hubert Davis from North Carolina. Hubert Davis jersey has a prominent place in the house. I've got a Rod Gilmore Stanford jersey. I've got a Desmond Howard over there.
Nice.
So that's really, I'm not really a collector, but that's what I like to do.
Would Stanford Steve give you a little mini fridge you could put in there? Or?
That's yeah. I know. I should get another, because Gilmore played at Stanford. I should get a Stanford '82 jersey. I think he was number 82 when he played at Stanford.
They're going to be at Salt Lake City this weekend, Utah and Oregon. Rece, do you get as excited now hosting that show, that wonderful, great show that we have all fallen in love with? Are you as excited this weekend as you were when you first started hosting the show?
Stu, I am, man. I mean, maybe I'm just a nerd for the college football or something, and for the scenes and for the energy, but I always get the adrenaline going. And, I'm usually singing the fight songs, or, doing OHIO last week, and I'll be fired up for the Mighty Utah student section. I mean, this is what I grew up with. This is the sport that I loved the most from when I was a little kid. So to get to do this every week, it just doesn't get old to me. So I don't dread it. I'm always excited for wherever we go, and I'm looking forward to getting back to Utah. I don't have it framed, but when we were at Utah last time, they actually gave me a jersey too.
Nice.
That has my name on it and the number from the first year that I hosted the show. We went the second year, and they presented that to me, which was very nice.
Rece, what have you made of the polarizing reaction to Pat McAfee and what his addition has been like to College Game Day?
His addition has been great, and it's given, it's kind of funny, because when you say gives energy, it's like we were all putting everybody to sleep before then. I hope that's not the case, but Pat is such a magnetic dude, and he's got such an innate feel for what resonates with the audience out there, and it's just been fantastic. He's an amazing teammate. So I think that even people who, will go, wait a minute, why is he on the show? I've been won over. I'll give you a perfect example. My wife's 85-year-old aunt, she didn't have any idea who Pat McAfee was when he joined the show.
Right.
And now I hope she still likes the fact that I'm on the show, but really what she wants to see is she wants to see Pat with the field goal kicker.
Really?
And she loves him. So he's won over a lot of people who maybe weren't as familiar with him if they weren't inside, obviously within his demographic. The reaction he gets from the college kids, I've never seen before. I mean, it's really a fascinating thing. And I'm delighted to have him on the show, and hope that's the case for a really long time.
Just remind Pat that Lee Corso is the star of that show. Okay. Like, I hope he knows.
Hey,
it seems like he doesn't.
You know what the thing is, Stu, is I think the one thing that shows Pat's, that I talked about, that innate ability to connect with people.
Yes.
Pat does such a fantastic job with Lee, and and not only being respectful to him, but finding the right tone and doing the right thing. They had a thing early in the season on which they had different points of view, and Pat did a spectacular job of presenting his point of view, which was in direct contrast with how Lee felt about something, without being disagreeable. And it was, it just showed he's got a really remarkable sense for things, and he's worked his tail off to really get into the DNA and the fabric of college football, because he by his own admission, he leaned more NFL, during his show for a number of years. So I mean, he's just been sensational, and I think that most people, the one thing. It's almost like the I hate to go biblical on you guys. Actually, I really don't hate to. But the lukewarm gets spewed out of the mouth, right? You're either hot or you're cold, and so I think there's a lot to be said for that when people have the talent to generate the type of reaction that Pat does.
Rece, this latest controversy at Michigan, the sign stealing allegations, it has the feel of something that could really mushroom and be serious. What do you think?
Well, first of all, sign stealing, Greg, as you know, is as old as competition. Now, I don't say that to diminish it, because it's in the rule book in black and white. And if Michigan is found to have done everything that it certainly appears up to this point that their staffer Stallions did, then they cheated, and that's the end of it. They gained an unfair advantage based on the rules, and they're going to have to be punished for it. The funny thing about it is that I don't think it will affect this year, because that would be record time for the NCAA they adjudicate something that quickly. I don't really see. I saw someone write yesterday that maybe the Big Ten should do something about it, but I don't really see that because that's sort of operating against your own interest if you rule them ineligible or something. And then there's also a thought now, depending on how far it goes back, if they were doing it with Ohio State and Penn State, which, according to Pete Thamel's really in-depth article yesterday, there are records of tons of tickets being bought in a number of stadiums by this person and transferred to someone else. And some apparently, according to the story, have video surveillance of, cell phones being pointed in that direction of the bench. You can gain a competitive advantage against your equals, against your peers. But, it sort of reminds me of what I had a history professor say about Watergate. He said that, Nixon could have been vacationing in the Bahamas for the entire 72 election and he would have won. He wasn't going to lose. It was completely unnecessary. So, if they were doing it to steal signs from Rutgers, or even though Rutgers is having a good year, Indiana, then, it's completely unnecessary. And you wonder why the operation was even undertaken. But when you start talking Ohio State, Penn State, some of the others, and it's all serious. That's even more serious. And, I think, probably at some point the question becomes will the result be that, I don't know, Harbaugh suspended for the Raiders-Broncos game next year or something? I don't know.
I have to ask you a quick off-the-wall question. It's got nothing to do with sports because you're a guy who grew up in Muscle Shoals, Alabama. Now, I love that kind of music. And when I hear Muscle Shoals, I think soul music, what we used to call soul music.
Right.
Aretha Franklin, Wilson Pickett, everybody went through there. What was it like growing up for you? How did that the music aspect of Muscle Shoals inform your childhood and your young adulthood?
Greg, I wish I had embraced it a little bit more, but it was just something that was normal. I mean, people would come to school and say, I saw this artist or this group or whatever. And the other thing is one of my high school classmates and teammates is a man called Rodney Hall. His father, and it sounds as if you've seen the documentary. So his father was Rick Hall, who founded Fame Studios, and Rodney actually runs the studios now. And they're still, churning out great music, both on, production level music and also finding new artists and sending them to different places. So it was something I wish that I'd really embraced more. But I think having Rodney as a friend and a classmate, and it just being something that was normal with Fame Recording Studios and Muscle Shoals Sound being in town, it was just sort of something that was accepted as kind of normal. But it was. Looking back on it, it's really cool. And I even learned a lot of things from the documentary a few years ago that I didn't know despite having grown up there.
Rodney.
Rece, I'm going to play a sound for you, okay? And I simply want to know what you were thinking when Desmond Howard did this on College Game Day.
He's going to bring that big penis energy. He's going to bring that big penis energy.
What was I thinking?
Yeah.
I was thinking after all of these years, the Washington quarterback is 24 years old. He's on his second stop, and you still don't know how to pronounce his last name?
He's going to bring that big penis energy.
Chris thinks that's the effect of Pat McAfee on the show. Do you agree?
No. Look, you guys know our guys. They're all pretty strong-willed guys. Now, I think Pat's had a good influence in that he has sparked us in some ways to be, to say what we think, and which we always should do, and I think we always have done. But I think that's just Desmond. Going for one there. To be honest with you, I think everybody's pretty strong in their convictions on that show.
Chris wasn't letting you finish. He had to hit it again.
He apparently likes it. The thing that I think that when we reacted was Pat had a great line coming out of it. Pat said, "Wow, I've been pronouncing his name wrong." I said, "No, you've got it right." I've got to be, hey, Stu, I've got to be the dad sometimes.
I know. Yeah, I know. Bunch of kids, right? Preventing dad from getting the work done. I understand it. It's like the Le Batard Show. It's exactly
you
like
understand
that. What?
Nothing.
What have we got going on? What have we got going on here?
Well, Billy,
With,
explain yourself.
So we do this thing called the bucket of death, Rece, and apparently from time to time you have to wear punishments and costumes and such, and I have to pay off a punishment today on Mankind, the wrestler.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
Are you a
right.
Halloween guy? Do you dress up for Halloween?
No, I do not. The last time I did was someone back when I used to do the car racing show 100 years ago on ESPN. One of the sponsors sent me one of those racing suits, fire suits. And so when I took my kids around to trick or treat, I wore it and claimed that I was going as Ricky Bobby. But I really, it was a half-hearted effort at the costume.
Rece, I think you guys this Saturday should do it in Salt Lake City. You guys should dress as one another, right? Like you should come in as Pat McAfee. Pat should come in as you. Like, what do you think? Good idea?
I can't. I'm in not good enough shape to pull off the tank top. I need to get a little more jacked before I can do that. Maybe I could maybe dress as Herb Street or something because there wouldn't be that much different. I just have to go blonde there or something.
What's been the most interesting story for you in college football this season?
I think the one that we're going through right now with Michigan, which has been the most dominant team and most consistently dominant team, yet they've played no one who can, I'll put it this way, no one who can fog an elite mirror. They play, UNLV's had a good season, Rutgers had a good season, but they haven't played anybody that's close to their level, but they have been consistently dominant, and now you have this sign-stealing thing coming around. I think beyond that, it's been the year of the near miss. We've had a number of games that came close to altering what will be the playoff picture, eliminating teams. If Oklahoma loses to UCF, if Texas takes the second loss to Houston, if goodness of Washington loses to Arizona State the other night, but none of it happened. So it's been sort of the year of the near miss, and now it's almost trending as if you're going to have maybe with one interloper some grouping of what's been the norm in the college football playoff era, because if you had some combination of Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, Alabama, LSU, Oklahoma, and Washington's been before. Washington, Oregon's been before. You're not getting all of this new blood that maybe a few weeks ago that we thought we were going to get in the playoff. Now Texas would be, if Texas makes it back for sure, and Washington would feel like it. But all of those teams, with the exception of Texas, have been to the playoff before. On the negative side, it's probably that Clemson hasn't bounced back and had another tough one down close to you guys the other night.
Rece, for a couple years now, people have wanted the expansion of the playoff, and we're going to get it. Are you at all concerned that it's going to lead to average teams getting in, just because of the fact that you're going to have so many teams in the playoff once you expand to 12?
It's my biggest concern about expansion, and I understand why people want it because we're conditioned to want the postseason. But just look at baseball. You don't have. I know you've got to win your clutch games. I'm not trying to diminish the teams that did advance, but you don't have the teams that were the best teams in the regular season. 162 games, they prove they're the best, and then boom, they're out because they don't play well in the series. But that's part and parcel of the way it goes. But in college football, forever, we either had controversy about the champion, which stoked a lot of interest, or we had a very small postseason, 2 teams, 4 teams, and it was really, really hard to get in. And it put a premium on the regular season. So the price that we are going to pay as a sport is the loss of that all or nothing feel to games in the regular season, which no one else has. It's probably time to pay that price because the fans seem to want it. The enterprise, the industry, the business side of it probably demands it. So it's probably time to pay the price, but I don't think we should pretend that it comes at no cost, because what you said is exactly right. It won't be long until a 3-loss team gets in, or a 4-loss team, or whatever it might be. And then you're going to start debating the merits of a 3-loss team from whatever is perceived to be the best league that particular year versus maybe a 1-loss team from a lesser league that's maybe outside what will be starting next year, the Power 4 conferences. So there are a lot of changes that are going to come with this. We're going to give up some of the things that make the sport different and makes the regular season better than any other regular season in sports. But maybe because of public demand and business concerns and all of those things, it's probably time to move on and evolve. And the good news is whatever we get, nobody's against more meaningful football. And so having a few more games in December and January that carry actual weight, that'll be the good side of what we're losing on the front side during the regular season.
You sound sad about this almost.
No, I'm not. I'm not really sad because there just haven't been a lot of years in this 14 playoff era where you've had a major beat, maybe two, right. And so it's now you're just taking it on down the line. I'm not sad about it. I think it's exciting in a lot of ways. But I do think I go back to a couple of games since I've been on game day and really through the history of the sport, but particularly 2019, we went to Tuscaloosa for LSU, Alabama. Tua was coming off that injury. Joe Burrow was having that great year and was just, on a rocket ship. And because they were in the same division, there was no real opportunity at a rematch. And that had an all or nothing feel in November, and the intensity was crazed. There have been several others like that. Georgia, Tennessee, maybe not quite to that degree last year, but it was huge. And you don't find that anywhere else. And so that's going to go away. The flip side of it is, and I said this in the meeting this week, is that next year, if you played out what the bracket would look like at the moment for next year, Oregon would be in, but not safely at the moment, still obviously with a chance to win its conference championship. And Utah would be on the outside looking in. So you would have a late October game in which there's a flip or an elimination coming way down the line. So there's some appeal to that for sure. And there are a lot of those who counter what I say about the all or nothing feel to the giant regular season games, countering that, okay, but there will be more games that matter at some point down the line too.
Rece, this isn't so much a question but a statement, and I'd like to get your reaction to it. I love the idea of expansion because a multitude of teams like Miami, who know they're not going to be top four, but who think maybe they sneak into 12, they're energized all of a sudden. The season feels different to a whole second level of second-tier teams that don't feel involved right now. Do you agree with that?
I think it's fair. Yeah, I think that's the fair sentiment about it, is that you don't feel like your season's over. Like you don't feel like if you lose that big showdown game that you've got nothing to play for. And, you start thinking about next year and how much playing time am I getting? Am I going to stay here? Am I going pro? Am I transferring? Whatever. There's probably better opportunity to stay engaged and locked in. So I do agree with that. And I think that's the upside of the expansion of the playoff. I just think my only point is not that we shouldn't be doing it. My point is, let's not pretend that it comes at no cost. There is a cost, but it's one that I feel like there's probably time to pay.
Rece, are you going to be surprised if Alabama finds its way into the playoff this year?
I am.
Really?
Yeah. It's and I don't mean that disrespectfully to them. I think they're tough, man. Somebody wrote it perfectly the other day, and I wish I had thought of it, is that they have somehow found the way to be the scrappy underdog, yet still the juggernaut because of what they built. They've trailed in a bunch of games. Their quarterback is young and coming along, very talented and sort of finding his way. Offensive line was supposed to be a strength, it's not. So I will be surprised, but I mean they've really improved. They're not the same team they were when they played that second Saturday night against Texas. They're much, much better.
Less than a minute to go here, Rece. Has there been a celebrity guest picker that you've been in awe of?
I don't really get in awe, but I'm not like that. But man, back in the day when I guess it was 2019 when McConaughey came, right. And he came again at the State Fair this year. Was not the guest picker, but he joined us on the show.
He's got a scent, right? He's got a scent.
Yeah, he's got a great aura and a presence about him. I really enjoyed Ken Jeong and Keegan-Michael Key, the guys who are professional comedians who then can come into that environment and be entertaining are pretty impressive.
All right, check them out this weekend. Salt Lake City, Utah, and Oregon, College Game Day, the best show anywhere on TV. Rece, we appreciate the time. Thank you, man.
Thanks, Stu. Good to see you guys. Take care.
All right. So just a little bit. We have some stuff to get to with Greg Cody. Do you have a back in my day done today?
Unfortunately, no. You know, Dan's not here in the building.
The acronym, right?
Yeah, that whole thing.
OW, only when.
OWDII, yeah, only when Dan is in. Thank you for remembering that.
I should be offended by it. I mean,
I know, but-
right.
I mean,
But
you
I'm
should,
not.
The
right.
worst part is that he has one, like he's written one, right? Or you at least have the idea of it. We talked about it a couple weeks ago.
It's certainly not, don't get me wrong, it's not an excuse not to do one. I
Right.
mean, come
I mean, it
on.
sounds like one.
No, we may have one next week.
I think Greg just knows, Stugotz, that when you're in, Greg has more to give than just a back in my day.
I don't want to
agree.
be pigeonholed.
Yes.
Billy knows
Exactly.
me.
Right.
Thank
Billy
you.
knows me.
I
don't
said
wanna
I should be
pigeonholed.
upset. I'm not upset. I should be, but I'm
You
not.
shouldn't be. Why should you be?
I guess I shouldn't be.
Greg has lots of things to talk about.
What's up with that bracelet?
Oh, I'm glad you asked. This is a bracelet that I bought in Haiti a few years ago.
Labadee.
And I like to wear it occasionally when I remember to, frankly, because, you know, Haiti is going through a terrible time with gangs, violence, crime, and it's overwhelming their police force. And I wish the U.S. government or NATO or somebody would come in and save Haiti because the situation over there is just beyond horrible.
I did not know that's where we were going to go with that.
Yeah,
So
well, yeah.
It seemed like you guys worked that out.
I honestly thought it was just like it gave off Taylor Swift like fun bracelet vibes. So I thought maybe there was a fun story behind it. But that's it. I guess a good
a serious story. That's a good job by Greg.
I mean, they're our neighbors. They're our Caribbean neighbors, so let's help
Yep.
them.
So you're supporting them.
Well, he's wearing a bracelet.
Well, that's
In
support.
case anyone asks.
It's his kind of support. Billy, Kirk Cousins, huh? Your guy. I mean, the Vikings are back.
How about God Bless Football? 4 for 4 on their Billy hit 3 for 3. Juju gave you Osborne over catches.
Nice.
Some money makers yesterday.
That's what I'm saying. You guys just got to listen to us sometimes.
If only you lived in a gambling state.
If only I wouldn't be here today. Would have bet the farm, Buster Olney's farm.
Yeah, but your dream of Kirk Cousins being a first ballot Hall of Famer is alive, I think.
Which, by the way, I believe Hawk said
Is it?
that's an idiot take.
Right. He
Yeah,
did. Yeah.
very hurtful. Troy Aikman called him a top 10 quarterback yesterday, I believe. He was probably talking about present day, which isn't as impressive.
The thing is, the Stugotz Billy transformation is happening so frequently now. It was first the same color shorts,
Right.
Then it was the hat and the sweater. Now what he's done is he's taken Mike Kirk Cousins' good take and is now completely flown by it, saying he's a top, whatever he's
Sure.
first ballot Hall of Famer.
He
or
went
whatever.
up to you, yes.
Yeah.
You're right. He put it in a place where you couldn't go any further. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Right. I didn't have that.
Right.
Billy did.
Well, I mean, but
It's an idiot take from Billy. When I say he's a good quarterback, now I win.
Right.
wait, what?
No, Billy wins.
Nah, it's still
Do
an
you guys
idiot
not
take.
think he's going to be in the Hall of Fame at all?
He will be in the Hall of Fame.
Well-
I'm not certain he'll be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Well,
though.
his career's not done
No.
yet. There's still time to win some trophies, some hardware.
Yeah, I mean, if he wins a Super Bowl, that's the easiest entry point. But
Thank you.
before last night, he was on a 2-10 skid on Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
Right. But a
Don't
first
worry
ballot
about that.
Hall of Famer, I mean, that's reserved for the all-time greats.
Yeah,
you know?
he'll have the numbers. He'll have the
Thank
stats.
you.
But there's a lot of
He already has better numbers than Troy Aikman.
Thank you.
Right.
You're
Yes.
welcome.
And there's a lot of quarterbacks who had a lot of touchdowns, a lot of yards. Vinny Testaverde comes to mind, oddly
Sure.
enough, who never have a chance for the Hall of Fame. I don't know if Cousins is a sure thing.
Let me tell you something. Kirk Cousins, better than Drew Brees. I said
Oh,
it.
wow.
Really?
Yep.
Wow. He's taking the take even further, Tony. What you got?
Do you not think he's not better? You don't think he's better than Drew Brees?
No, I don't think he's better than
What
Drew
did Drew
Brees.
Brees ever do? Please. He won one Super Bowl. They had
He
to
was an
rely on
excellent
onside
quarterback
kick
for
or whatever.
15 years.
Yeah.
Well, and what's Kirk?
He's been a very good quarterback
Thank
for the
you.
last 7.
His career's not done yet.
I agree. We're
You know
still
the-
in the writing of his career,
Here's,
but
here's the problem that I've encountered, if I'm going to break the fourth wall and be honest here with everyone. The problem that I've encountered is I will just say, I'll say things, right? And when I say things seriously, they're ignored, largely ignored, laughed at, scoffed, blah, 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 whatever, right?
I feel that.
And then I'll just say like a one throwaway thing to keep things moving, and then they get like attached to me for the remainder of my life.
Like Josh Allen?
You see, we weren't even talking about Josh Allen. That has nothing to do with this conversation, but that gets brought up. Kirk Cousins often gets brought up.
But you're saying that Josh Allen and your comment that he has a funny-looking face was just a transition. You would
Stupid
just
face.
keep it there, a stupid face.
Yeah,
You
that
were
was the
just-
serious thing.
You were just keeping it moving.
I was trying to
right,
because
okay.
we were caught in the mud that day and we were going back and forth
Right.
on the exact same topic over and over again about the Bills. And I was like, how do we get this from point A to point B? You know what I mean? That's the thing.
Right.
I often think of myself as a show conductor of sorts. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm just trying to move things along, get from stop to stop.
Conducting, huh?
Exactly
Yes.
right. Keep the train on the tracks is what I'm known for. So that's what I'm trying to do sometimes. And at times when I'm trying to keep things moving, people, get distracted by the wrong things and they focus on those things.
Right.
Like, for example, the Jalen Hurts thing. I didn't even say that on the air. I was
One-trick pony?
I was trying to workshop something with Stugotz off air.
Yeah,
and
but when you're workshopping something, you're preparing to say it.
No, not for me. I was trying to give him that. I was
Right,
trying to give
right.
him that take.
I
and
didn't
he
want
re-
it.
he
I gave it
refused
back to you.
Wow.
And then he
Wow.
said that I said something that I
Little hot
never
potato.
said on the
Right.
air.
Is
that how the
and now it's
sausage is
stuck to
made?
me.
Yes.
Man,
Not a give and
don't
go.
show me that.
I decide which ones I want for Billy, and I give the other ones back. I mean, it's a good take by Billy.
It's not, and I didn't want it. I was trying to give it to you, but you
So
didn't
good
take
that he's
it.
going to have it whether he wants it or not.
Exactly right.
So now Andrew Hawkins thinks that you're a football idiot because you said first ballot Hall of Famer, one-trick pony,
Or
for
a
Jalen
genius.
Hurts.
Or Hawk is saying to himself right now, wow, I was wrong.
we
Billy
need to
was right.
listen.
Probably not.
Guys. We can revisit this take in 15 years. Okay,
All right.
that's when we're
Let's
going to have
meet
to
back
do it.
right here in 15
Let's
years.
meet
Well,
in Canton.
I
mean,
hope to not
yeah.
speak to any of you in 15 years, if I'm going to be honest.
Really?
It was a mean thing to say.
I know. I'm sorry. It was an easy low hang fruit. I'm trying to look up first ballot Hall of Famers so I can see how great this take of mine was.
You're not going to like what you find, Billy. I'm sorry. Greg, what were your thoughts here? We discussed yesterday whether or not we want to be that show that blames officiating for the Dolphins losing to Philadelphia on
Right.
Sunday night.
I hate that.
You do?
Yeah, people go overboard. There were a couple of calls that were bad calls. The roughing the passer that probably shouldn't have been was certainly arguable. The pass interference call that was not called that involved a face mask grab, clearly shown on a replay, that was an egregious missed call. But those things happen both ways, and unless you're implying that the referees, had it in for the Dolphins and intentionally made non-calls like that, then it's a moot argument. The Dolphins got out-physicaled on both sides of the line, offensive line play and defensive
Now,
line
see,
play.
I will push back right there. I rewatched the game yesterday on that cool NFL Network thing or on NFL.com where you can just watch an entire game in like 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's great.
And the Dolphins front seven, I think, played their best game yesterday. Granted, think about who they're going against. They only got 17 points, the Eagles. They did not run the ball well on the Dolphins. Long Jr. and Baker had their best games of the year. I think you saw Sealer and Wilkins make plays. Obviously, they didn't do enough to win. They were playing against the best offensive line. But I think if you really forget about the results and just watch, I think the defensive line and front seven had one of their better games yesterday.
That's arguable, but that's a fair point. Jalen Phillips back in the lineup really helped.
First sack on Lane Johnson since 2020.
Yeah, no, that you're right. That's a fair comment.
That's crazy.
It was the offensive line play and the lack of the usual running game that hurt. And Mike McDaniel and Tua both mentioned that in the postgame. The idea that their identity right now is they have to establish the run and the pass plays off that, the pass plays off that, and they were unable to do that.
I think where they were hurt most on Sunday is where they were injured. The A.J. Brown went off. They're missing their top two corners. We couldn't run the ball.
Sure.
We're missing 3 of our 5 offensive linemen. I think
injuries
I
were
think
a key.
with health, this can be like. I think with health, we know the Dolphins can be in any game against anyone. They just got to be healthy at the right time.
Funny, you think of a running team as a power running team, right? But the Dolphins are more of a finesse running team trying to get to the outsides, which is why it was so tough when they would run in that C gap, like Chris Collinsworth would say. All of a sudden, Hassan Reddick's there like, hey, guys, I'm here. And he would have 77 tackles.
Yeah. And the injury to Devon Achane has really hurt them as well. He was closing in on C.J. Stroud in the Rookie of the Year race before he was injured. I think the game in Kansas City is going to be such a
It's in Europe. It's in Germany.
Right.
Yeah.
Or
You said in Kansas
I'm sorry,
City.
I meant versus
we discussed
Kansas City.
yesterday that Germany does not deserve such a great game.
At
that time.
They should get Bears
At
Saints
that
or something
time,
like
yeah.
that.
It's-
again, 2 of them.
Right. Yeah.
Because right now it seems to me that Philadelphia and Kansas City are way up here,
Right.
and the Dolphins are in a group with Baltimore, San Francisco, and a few other teams in that second tier. Yeah, absolutely.
Wow,
They're-
you have San Francisco going down to that second tier. I think it's like we're doing this thing. We're crushing the Dolphins right now for being injured. The 49ers last night were missing Trent Williams, Deebo Samuel. I mean, I just think, like right now, because of the result last night, we have to put the Dolphins and the Niners. But I think with health, you can put the Niners and Dolphins in that category. Obviously, we're dealing with a small sample size right now, so it's easy to say what you're saying. But I think that those teams are, when healthy, in that conversation.
But that's the reason I love football more than any other sport. When you're playing a 162-game season or an 81-game season, it feels like no one game really matters at all. When you're playing a 12 or 17-game season,
They all matter.
they all matter, and everything takes on great weight. So, yeah, you do rethink everything based on what happens Sunday or Monday, but absolutely the Dolphins are still a Super Bowl contender, just as I thought they were before the season.
Achane is averaging 12 yards per carry.
It's insane.
It's insane.
He's as fast as Tyreek Hill.
My dad found a third way to say his name, Achan. It's Achan, I thought.
Is it Achan?
First it was Achan,
Right.
And then he's like, I want it to be Achan, and
Right.
you threw a flourish on it, Achan.
Okay,
I wanted to be A-Train. That's what
Yeah, that'd be great.
Right?
let's have him on.
Well, he's injured, so.
It's a weird thing to say at the end there. Let's have him on.
No, just to ask
let's
him.
book him.
Just to ask him
Make
the
it happen,
pronunciation
Chris.
of his name, not to talk about football.
Oh, wait, he's actually right here. Here you go. Come on in.
Kirk Cousins is a better quarterback than Jim Kelly. And Troy Aikman.
No doubt.
Oh,
yes.
we're doing this thing.
Okay.
Can we not do
Keep
the
doing
Diarras
it. Yeah, no,
show?
do it.
Are you
Please
gonna do? Are you gonna
Right.
do? Was he better than Drew Brees now? Can you look at Drew Brees' numbers?
All right, I'll look at those. I mean, remember, he still
Something tells
he
me,
still
Tony,
has
you've already
time.
looked it up. I mean,
Something tells me he was an excellent quarterback.
Well, I mean, overrated. We can agree on that, correct? Can we not?
Yeah.
Yeah. Greg,
He has
you-
half as many yards as Drew Brees. How long do I have to revise this Kirk Cousins
No,
take
you've
that
already-
I
you
didn't
already had
want
the take.
to be
stay
mine?
entrenched, Billy. You're fine.
Nah, I didn't want it.
Billy, he's got plenty of years left. Like, if he wins a Super Bowl or two, he might, with those stats, he might get into the Hall of Fame first ballot.
Kirk could
That's
have
Super
another
Bowl, right.
20 years in the NFL and not put together the career that Drew Brees had.
Drew Brees played 287 games. Kirk Cousins has 90.
Right.
I mean, he doesn't have
I know.
3 times that left in him.
No, I think he does. You have quarterbacks playing into their late 30s, early 40s now. Like, you're fine. How old is Kirk Cousins?
35.
So maybe he got 5 more years?
5 more years, he's going to double the amount
Guys.
of yards he has for his career. It's impossible.
I mean, in today's NFL, he could throw for 6,000 yards a season. 30,000 more yards right there.
He is about to pass Johnny Unitas for career yardage.
Johnny
Thank
U.
you.
How about that?
Yeah.
Dad, what did you text me this morning? I woke up to a text from you about something with Advil and where it goes in your body.
Oh,
Transition.
I was curious because I'm not a person who takes a lot of Advil. And when I do, I generally take one Advil.
Not enough.
No. And I was complaining today because I had a stuffed ear that was giving me a headache and it hurt to cough. And your mother says, take 3 or 4 Advil. So I took 3. And I wondered, how does Advil or any aspirin know where the pain is and where to go in your body?
Huh.
I had never thought of
It
that
targets
before.
the pain, though. I mean,
But how does it know where the pain is?
It's a good question.
I don't know.
Have you ever?
Or does it send something throughout your entire body and just attacks wherever the pain is in the body?
That's probably more
probably-
what it is.
I don't
Probably
think it's
it, yeah.
that.
I had never thought of it before.
No.
And nobody seems to really know the answer.
Did you put the Advil in your ear?
That would be funny. Apply it right to where the
Yeah,
pain
exactly
is.
where the pain is.
Yeah, no, I mistakenly swallowed it with water.
Well, do you feel
Oh.
better?
About 20 minutes later, I did feel better. It's
I love how you're
magic.
discovering it. You're like, Advil. I put it in my
Pain
body.
medication.
And then
Ibuprofen.
a half hour later, I felt better.
I did. It was a revelation.
What's the right amount of Advil to take if you're really in pain? I feel like it's 4.
What?
That's a lot.
That feels
That's,
like
what's
that's
the
a
question?
lot.
I think
It is?
I think the normal dose is 2, and some people bump it up to 3.
No,
4 is
some-
aggressive.
No, some Advils now will say take 1. But you have to also look at like the milligrams, like how big or how what the dosage is,
Yeah.
and that'll tell you how many to take. I was told in my head by the voices in my head that what Advil does is it blocks off the pain receptors, so it doesn't. It kind of masks the feeling of pain. You still have it, but what it is it's kind of I guess shutting off your ability to feel it.
Interesting. And
I don't
then
know if that's true or not.
Where are my pain receptors?
In your brain?
In my
you want me
brain?
to show you?
Like, yeah, what part of the brain?
Right. Hold on. Billy.
Which lobe are they in?
He's going to show you. Hold on.
Yeah.
I think it's here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think
Okay.
it's
Right.
there.
Yeah.
What is Billy doing right now?
No
He's
idea.
walking.
Yeah, that's good
He's
to
being
know.
Billy.
That's
For
great.
cameras.
He just pointed at Greg's forehead,
He's
the top
keeping it
left of
moving.
Greg's
Yeah.
forehead,
Yeah.
and just said, "This is where they
Right
are."
here.
I think that's where
Zero
they are.
medical
So,
training.
then why don't I feel the pain right here?
Because you took Advil.
Right.
No, but the pain
No, 'cause you
was
took Advil.
behind my ear before. It was not
Yeah.
here.
Right. But that's the.
Well, that's where the receptor is.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
I'm seeing on the internet that
the pain
painkillers
goes to that part of your brain.
Yeah.
Greg.
painkillers
Yes.
don't know where the pain is, but they only work on areas associated with inflammation, aka where pain usually is.
See?
Got it?
That's
So
a-
they attack inflammation. It's seeking out. It's like a
That's an anti-inflammatory. Does that?
Correct.
Yeah.
Billy, hear me out here, okay? 7 games in, Kirk Cousins has 2,057 yards. 7 games in.
Yeah.
Now make it 14 games if he stays healthy, okay?
14.
He's at like 4,200 yards.
Why is
with,
he only playing 14 if he stays
Well, I'm
healthy?
just saying that's halfway. I'm doing the math. It's an easy way for me to do the math, okay?
Yeah.
And then tack on 3 more games. So 5,000 plus yards. this
Well,
year.
hear me out.
Right.
He's never had 5,000 yards in his career.
I know, but he's pacing right now.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying. I'm trying to help you out here.
But I want to abandon this take. and
Also,
you're not
hear me
letting
out.
me.
Drew Brees has thrown, if you haven't looked it up already, has thrown for 80,000 yards, 571 touchdowns.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, overrated.
Pro Football Reference has a meter for potential Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I
status
was
called.
avoiding giving that information.
Yeah, the Hall of Fame monitor. He's
Yeah.
at 43.65. The
Yeah.
average Hall of Fame quarterback is 103.5.
Yeah, I was avoiding giving.
so
them
he's
that
half of a Hall of
information.
Famer.
He's
Less
half of a
than
Hall.
half.
Well, his
He's getting
career's only
there.
half
Halfway
done.
there,
Yeah,
right.
exactly right. He's working on it, guys. What are we? What? It's like you don't want.
Let's
you don't
test
want
this thing.
good things for Kirk Cousins. I don't
I
understand.
love
Wait,
good
no
things
one
for
does.
Kirk Cousins.
Let's-
That's not true.
Hey,
Weird.
Let's test this thing. Like, who's a quarterback that has been Hall of Fame worthy, but for like 1 or 2 years, to see if they are projecting. You know what I mean? Like, if you're great,
Russell Wilson.
Oh, Russell Wilson. Yeah, where's he at?
Right.
on that
put Russell
list?
Wilson. Let's see where
Yeah,
he's at.
I mean, right now he's playing his way out of the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I
He
wonder
is,
if I
yes.
wonder if we let's mark down what it is this year and then see if next year it's
Quietly
lower.
having a good year, by the way.
He is.
Russell Wilson.
Yeah, he
Very
is.
quietly.
I know.
Last year was terrible.
His Hall of Fame monitor is 84.17.
See, so he's in right now.
Wow.
It would
That's
appear.
not
Do you
in.
think it was higher earlier
Roy
on?
said you have to be over 100.
Oh yeah, well,
The average is 103.
That's
Yeah,
the
but-
average is.
Yeah.
That means
okay.
that there's way higher and way
Yeah,
yeah,
lower.
but
you're
Jim,
right.
Jim
Averages.
Kelly was like 65.
Right.
So
Different era, though.
4
that's
Super
what-
Bowls.
I don't like that.
I mean,
Where's it have Matthew Stafford?
Great question.
Oh, I love this game.
yeah,
Just
Stafford.
naming
Where's Jared
quarterbacks.
Goff?
Great
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
They both have Super Bowls, though, Stafford and Wilson.
I'm more interested in a quarterback almost like Tua. Don't laugh. I'm just saying
Don't
because he's
do
having
that.
such a statistical great year
Right.
early on in his career, like, do they project it out? I don't know. I'd be interested.
Matthew Stafford is at 72.84.
Wow.
So
Really?
He's lower than Russell Wilson.
All right, check Tua real quick.
Why are we
Just
doing
to see.
He had a lot of good. He had a lot
It's
of
good. It's a good game.
good years
Billy.
for bad teams in Detroit.
Jared Goff is not.
They should put him in the
very
Hall of Fame
good.
just for playing in Detroit.
Goff's not.
Goff's 33.75.
Yeah, but he's on the way back.
Like here is Tua's got to be below Kirk Cousins at this point, right?
They don't have it for him yet.
Oh wow, he doesn't
No,
even
he's
reach
too
the-
he's too
early
early
to
to
call.
I just didn't know if they
early to call.
you have to play a few years before.
Jury's still out.
They don't try to project that early.
How many years though? Like, do we know?
Oh, I love this game.
We don't know anything. We're all just reading the internet together at the same time.
Geno Smith is inching his way towards the Hall of Fame.
Oh,
no,
please
he
stop.
is absolutely
God.
not.
He puts 5 more years like this together. I mean,
Can I ask you guys are you okay? Can I ask you guys a question? Are you guys
he's not okay.
Fighting through.
Geno,
Lamar Jackson, check it out, Roy.
Geno Smith is 9.6.
In 5 years, he'll be Kirk Cousins.
But he was like 3.6 a year ago, before last season. That's all I'm saying.
Are you guys excited about the Dolphins being on Hard Knocks in season? Because I am not.
Lamar Jackson, by the way, 44.83.
What?
Because hasn't
It's
done
early.
it long
I
enough.
get it. I get it.
Yeah.
Greg, are you excited for that?
It's a great choice. The Dolphins are such an interesting team. Mike McDaniel is probably the most fun head coach in the league. Tua, Tyreek Hill, the team speed they have. They just traded for Chase Claypool, which has a little controversial element to it. They just have interesting stories all over that roster. So it's a great choice. I'm not a huge fan of Hard Knocks, but that's a brilliant choice. I'm a little surprised they agreed to do it.
I don't think they have a choice.
I think they do have a choice.
No.
There's some rule where if you don't have a choice if you've done it in the last X number of years, and so maybe the Dolphins didn't have a choice, because if they did, I'd be surprised if they
I
did.
get why McDaniel wouldn't want it. You know, they're having a great year. It just throws another wrinkle in there.
Yeah, it's a distraction.
So, like, from their perspective, I get not wanting it, and I kind of like, Billy, I think I'm just going to assume you're doing the let's not screw this up. Things are going well. Like, this could only, it can't
Well,
make
they're coming off of a loss that people are saying they're frauds, and they're saying they haven't beat anyone. Now
the first
you wanna
episode
add this
might
to
be,
stuff.
a couple weeks from now?
Yeah,
Like,
it just
Yeah.
this seems like an unnecessary thing.
It's not something I would want.
It's gonna.
but as
well,
a fan, why aren't we excited
No,
about
no,
it?
no.
We're gonna
No,
get
you
to
should
see
be.
the crazy
intimate-
thing. The crazy thing is, as a Dolphins fan, you would think like I want to see my team, right? But I don't want to see the Dolphins.
I do.
If I was like a fan of another team, I would like want to see the Dolphins, because it seems like this is probably an entertaining group.
I've
but
never
I don't want it to
tuned
be my
in
team.
for mid-season Hard Knocks.
Me neither.
I'm a big Hard Knocks guy. Never done mid-season.
Nobody has.
I'm gonna do it now, and maybe that's what they're, because they've done pretty boring ones the last couple of years. Colts, who weren't good. Cardinals were bad last year. So this is the first time they're doing with a good team, and I'm excited for it. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want it. Like, if shit hits the fan and we end up not doing well, then we're all gonna look back and be like, maybe that was it. So I don't like that there's something else being thrown in that could affect us. But I'm good with this.
This is also a team that loves attention. Guys like Tyreek Hill and Christian Wilkins, they love attention. And Mike McDaniel is so wonderful with the media. He will be good behind a camera in his office talking to another player. He'll be honest. He'll be funny.
It's an interesting team.
Yeah, it is.
It is.
It is.
Yes.
Absolutely.
According to the Hall of Fame monitor on Pro Football Reference, Patrick Mahomes is not a Hall of Famer.
What's his number?
86.28, and the average is 103.58.
I think he'll be all right.
I don't know.
First ballot.
Stats, man. I don't know.
And you get zero ballot? That's what he'll be, a zero ballot Hall of Famer.
The day he retires, goes straight to
The
Canton.
second he retires.
Joe Namath is in the Hall of Fame. Anything is possible.
You're right. Most overrated quarterback in the history of the NFL. Broadway Joe. Fraudway Joe. Anyway, Greg, I found it interesting. Oh, wow.
Uh-oh.
What does that mean? It's Tuesday.
Wow, Ben Roethlisberger is. He's just missing. His is 100.28. So Ben Roethlisberger, better quarterback than Patrick Mahomes.
He's in, though. I mean,
Before we finish this segment, Greg Cody needs to go to the Bucket of Death. And let us remind you that the Bucket of Death is brought to you by KFC's new hot and spicy wings. Order an 8-piece of new hot and spicy wings for just $4.99 at participating KFCs today. It's finger-licking good.
Wow.
why do you point at us when you do that?
I'm just so damn passionate
Yeah.
about KFC.
Chris loves KFC.
I know you are.
He loves KFC.
I eat it like 4
Yeah.
times a week.
It's great.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like
All right, Greg's going to the
amazing.
bucket. He's rummaging.
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh,
That's not a good one.
oh,
Oh, boy.
Oh.
We'll put it back.
are they on a bye?
Carolina
Carolina,
Panthers
no.
+3. They're hosting the Texans.
Put it back. They're 0-6, Greg.
They're due.
CJ Stroud's look good.
Yeah.
I mean, but that is maybe
that-
a winnable. That might be their one.
That is a winnable game.
Might
It
be their
is.
one.
It might not, though.
What is that?
Oh God.
What?
the
Tennessee.
Titans.
Titans.
They're
home.
They're hosting the Falcons. 2.5.
Could be
point
worse.
That's an
dogs.
upgrade.
All right, they're giving or
upgraded.
getting?
They're getting 2.5.
Okay.
They have to win
I got no
regardless.
choice.
Yeah.
Come on, Tannehill.
Chris, let's go to the stat of the day. What?
Let's do that.
Yes.
Stat of the day. Stat of the day.
Start of the day.
He's juggling a
start of
lot.
the
I put a lot on him
day.
there.
It is your start of the day.
Levitar's fault.
Start
He's
of the
looking at Roy,
day.
like Roy was
Start of the
supposed to do
day.
something,
It
too.
is your
Roy was
start
not
of the
supposed to
day.
do
I know. That's what I was
Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day.
Today's stat of the day is brought to you by Venmo. Your money, your move.
All right. Adolis Garcia of the Rangers is the first player in Major League Baseball history to have a homer and 3 RBIs, 3+ RBIs in 3 consecutive postseason games.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, sneaky good little finish here to this baseball season. We see the Astros lose.
Yeah.
Hopefully tonight we can see the Phillies lose. It won't
Yep.
be a great World Series, but we can see all the teams we hate lose.
Yeah, but I love the idea of a Diamondback Ranger World Series that no one wants to watch.
I know. I love it because you have a true Cinderella, by my definition, in Texas because they've won nothing. They've never won since 1972. I like that.
Dan Orlovsky, next.